We will be doing installation of brushless DC motor controller. So this is the box which houses the controller. So you can see there is no wires, there's nothing in it. So this is the display and the switches for other functions on the brushless motor controller. And this is how the brushless motor controller looks like. This is how it looks like. This is how it looks like. So I have about 6 of these. So I'll be doing tutorials on how to install the brushless DC controller. It can also be used for e-bike and electric scooters, but this one is purposely for industrial brushless DC motors. So let me get the controller and show you how to test it. Okay, I was just adjusting the camera. Sorry for the disturbance. So this is how the controller looks like. This is how the controller looks like. So with the controller, before you connect any controller, you have to test the lines for shortage one, and yeah, mainly shortage and other stuff. But the other parts can be tested when there is power on the board. So let me show you how to test it whilst there's no power. So with the help of a multimeter, you set the multimeter to continuity position. Using this board as an example. Now, these are the main phase lines and these are the power lines. So these are the major things which helps the motor to move. So the phase lines together with the Hall sensor lines are the ones which help the motor to rotate. So you check shortage in between the phase lines, shortage in between the power lines, and shortage between the phase lines and the power lines. Because when there's a shortage between the power lines and you connect a battery and there's no BMS on the battery will end up causing fire. Or if there is no fuse, the battery will cause fire. But if there's fuse, then the fuse will blow out, or it might end up causing fire. So mainly the shortage is very important. So let me show you how to test the shortage. So this is the multimeter. Now you can hear the beeping sound. Now let's connect it color to color. So positive probe to the positive probe, negative probe to the negative probe. So you can see I'm getting no reading, which means that the input lines, which is the supply lines, are okay. Now let's reverse the this one. You can hear some sound, but it will stop in a while. You see, so which means that the power lines are okay. Now let's test across the faces. So testing across the faces. So the power line across the faces, I'm testing the negative one first. So the negative one is okay. Now let's go to the positive one. The positive one is also okay. So that's how you test it. But you can test the list like this and it will still not work. So another form of testing is when you power the board, you test the hall lines, which is the positive and negative section of the hall lines, to find out. So that after you power the board, then you activate it. When you test these two lines, you are supposed to get 5 volts, which means that the controller is working perfectly. So this is one of the controller. I have more of this. So this is another one. Now the reason why this one has more lines than this is because the because of the functions this one has. So this one has 3-speed control, reverse, alarm line, and other stuff. But in this case, we are not going to be using all those functions. We just need about 3 or 4, which is the throttle, the 3-speed, and the reverse line. So this is the controller I'll be using. So let me show you how to test this one. And secondly, in this tutorial, I won't be using throttle. I'll be using a potentiometer. So I'll show you how to make something like this, because this one can also be used to regulate the speed as how the throttle works. So now let me open the box first. So with the box, this controller is a bit different than the original one, which is supposed to be used for this control box. So you can see that the switches are the selector type. The switches used are the selector type, and you can see there's some resistor used to reduce the voltage. So I won't be using this one. I'll be replacing it with the potentiometer. So let's go. Now, first things first, let me activate this controller and show you how to test it even without the motor. So this is the line used to activate the controller. This is it. Normally the color is neither orange or sometimes red and white or red and black. It's not red like how this one looks. That's what is used to distinguish between the power line and the VCC. Normally that's the name given to it on the board, VCC. So that's the one which is used to activate the controller. So you connect that one to the positive line and it will activate the controller. So with this control board, the voltage is 48 volts. So I have a 48 volts battery here. So I'll be using that battery for. Let me get the connector and connect the 48 volts really quick. Now this is my 48 volt supply from the battery. So I can't connect it directly. I need a connector. So now this is the connector. Let me connect it to the main battery leads first. Let me check the voltage. So the voltage is 46 volts, which is okay. It's about 70 or 60%, so it's okay. Now there is normally a connection box which is used. It has bolts and nuts where you connect this one, but for this purpose I'll be using the wires directly. So this shows the spark shows it's a good sign, it's working. Because of there's a capacitor on the board, so when you connect the battery first time, the capacitor will spark, which means that the board is working. Now let's go ahead. These are the hall lines for this controller. Now let me connect the probes of the multimeter to the lines. Now you can see I'm getting no voltage, 0 volts, which means that power is going to the board, but the board hasn't been activated. So let me show you how to activate the board. So you connect this line to the positive probe. So let's see. Sorry about that. I think I need to apply small lead to that one so that it will hold the wire in place, or else it will keep on coming off. Let me turn the solder on real quick. So let me be doing that. While the solder iron heat up, let me explain. So this is it. Now I'll connect it to the positive probe. You realize that as soon as I connect it to the positive probe, the voltage will come. So let's see. Now you can see I'm getting volts, 3 volts. So I'm supposed to get 5 volts, but 3 is okay because my multimeter is not good at reading low voltages, especially from 1 to 3 volts. So that's why. So you can see as soon as I connect this line to the positive probe, the voltage comes, which means that the board is working. And also there's a second way of testing. There's an e-bike tester. I think I have one video on my channel where I was explaining how to use the e-bike tester. Let me get that one real quick so that I will show you how to use the e-bike tester too. So this is how the e-bike tester looks like. And sorry about the dirt on it, but I've been using it mostly, so that's why it's a bit dirty. So you can see the indication your controller 5 volts and the hall lines and phase lines and everything. So these are the connectors. So you can connect this side to the controller. As soon as you activate the controller, this light will come on, which means that the controller is working. So let me do that so you see. So let me take the multimeter off. If you don't understand anything so far, you can leave a comment. I'll be glad to show you. So you can see the light comes on. I think there's a fault with that bulb, that's why it's not stable. Okay, now it's stable. So you can see that the 5 volts comes on, which means that the board has been activated. The light flickering is because of the that I think the LED is a bit weak on the board. I have to attend to that. So you can see, so before you even connect the board, these are the main things you need to do. First of all, you need to activate it, make sure everything is working before you start the whole process. So with this board, the main functions I'll be needing is the 3-speed, the throttle, and the reverse, because it's used in a poultry farm. So the controller drives a motor which is attached to an axle which moves the feeder. So the speed is required, and the reverse is also required for the movement. So let's see. Now let me disconnect my power back. Now even after disconnecting the power, there will be some charge in the this one, so you have to, you see. So that's it. So now the functions I stated earlier, these are the switches for that one. So you can see I will use this one for the reverse, this one to activate the throttle, and this one for the 3-speed. So same thing here. So you can see that this is the display, this is the switches I was talking about earlier, and the inscriptions on it are written in Chinese. But if you use Google Translate to scan it, you will see that it's similar to what I'm saying. So normally the controllers which come with these control boxes are this type. You can see that these types, they don't have many functions. The functions are not that many. But as compared to, because this one is mainly used for e-bikes. So you can see this is the reverse, this is the reverse, this is the anti-theft alarm system. I think I have one around which I can use to perform that function, but you let me connect it first before I even use the anti-theft system. Now after this live session, I'll be posting a video on how to make something like this. It's a 5-volt voltage regulator. It's a 5-volt voltage regulator. So I'll be posting a video on how to make this. You can make one and keep it on your e-bike in case you are riding and your throttle gets spoiled. You can use this one to manage for the meantime before you replace the throttle. So let's go. Now I'm supposed to use some connectors, but the connectors are with the owner, because the motors are with the owner, but the main functions are the ones I'll be talking about. Now some of the functions on this board are high brake and low brake. Now I know the high brake and low brake, sometimes it confuses you guys. Maybe if you are installing a control board on an e-bike and you see the high brake and low brake, you'll be asking what's high brake, what's low brake. Now the difference between the high brake and low brake is the high brake function, it needs the positive line to connect with it to work, and the low brake needs the negative line. The difference is that there are some e-bikes who don't have the tail light. So those e-bikes, they use low brake, or electric scooters, they use the low brake. And the ones which have the tail lights, like the electric scooters, you know, those big types like the City Cocos and stuff, which have the tail lights, they need a high brake, but they all perform the same functions, just to cut power from the board anytime you press the brake handle. So in this case, these are this is the high brake. Now this is cruise control. This yellow function here is cruise control. So you connect it to a switch, then as soon as you are riding and you turn it on, it activates the cruise control. Now this is the self-learning line. So let's say you connect the faces of the motor according to the colors, and after accelerating, the e-bike moves reverse, which means that there's an issue with the face lines, so you have to correct it. But instead of correcting these face lines, you can use the self-learning line. So if you connect the self-learning line like this, the e-bike will move forward. Now if you disconnect and connect it again, the e-bike will move reverse. So in order for you to understand this function match, I have one e-bike motor here. I'll be using that one to do an example for you so that you see. Let me get it real quick. Motor. Now I'll be doing the direction first, which is what I spoke about earlier about how to change the direction. So first things first, I have to connect the main motor lines, sorry, the hall sensor lines first, then the main phase lines. But you can see that these phase lines are not compatible with the ones here because of the design. So I'll have to find ways and means to make it compatible. So I'll be using the alligator clips from the e-bike tester to clamp it. I think that'll be good. That one can hold it. So let me use this one. So with that one too, I'll do it color to color. So let's go blue to blue, yellow to yellow, and green to green. So let's go. I think that one is not even holding it well. Let me use by now the soldering iron is hot. Let me see. Okay. It's still not hot. I'm coming. So I want to use the lead so that I can solder the lines to the pins. Then you see how their functions work. Because their functions they are quite confusing. Because normally most of these controllers when they come, the inscriptions on them are Chinese. Most don't come with manual to connect them. So if you don't do the right thing, you end up damaging the controller. So I want the soldering iron to get hot a bit so that I can use it. Come and give me a minute. There was an issue with the power supply I was using, so I went to get a better one because the soldering iron wasn't hitting. It's still not hitting, so I think it's 40. Are you let me go on with the tutorial? I'll get that fixed later. Okay. Let me get the battery lines here. Okay, the battery lines are there. I need a spark so that it will hold the wire in place whilst testing. Okay. This one I think I need to replace the connector. So let me just cut that part off so I can get access to the bed cable. Okay. Okay. So now the power lines has been connected. Now with the activation, it's not always that is required to connect it to this particular positive. There are other positives on the board. I mean positive lines on the board where you can use. So I'll be using the one from this one. That's the power supply to the anti-theft system. So I'll be using that one. I, I think I need to cut it off because with this control box there won't be any anti-theft system, so there is no need of that. So let me just wrap it around this side. Now I'll connect the face lines, the main face lines. Now the control board is activated. I've connected my main face lines. So let's say after connecting your main face lines, then you want to know the direction the motor will go before assembling everything. The self-learning wire I was talking about. Now let's see what happens when I connect that wire. So because the lines are not getting contact, well, that's why you can see. Now after connecting, you can see is the motor is rotating forward. Now let me disconnect it and connect it again. Sorry about that. The lines are not getting contact, that's why. Now let me disconnect and connect it again. I'm coming, they are still not getting contact. So normally if the controller doesn't have the self recognition line, then you have to change the interchange the lines. So you can see now the motor is going reverse. You can see now the motor is going reverse. So that's how you identify the direction even before connecting the throttle. So that's the first function. Now let's change it to forward direction before we proceed with the next one. So now it's going forward. Now let me get one wire to bridge the throttle lines because I won't be using my potentiometer for now. I won't be using my potentiometer for now. So if I'm bridge the throttle lines, which is this one, the red, green, and black, you bridge the green and red. So let's see. Now because the phase line is so you can see everything is the reason for the noise is because of the phase. Okay. I think I need to correct the phase issue before proceed. Okay, now it's okay. Now I have bridged the throttle line. Now let's experiment with the low brake and high brake. Now I will go with the low brake first. So the low brake is the yellow and black one. Now I'll go with the low brake. As soon as it touches, the motor will stop. Have you seen? So this function works with the brake. So as soon as you press the brake handle, the power will cut. The power will cut. So you disconnect it, then it starts working again. So that's why most e-bikes and electric scooters come with sensors on their brake handle. So that's one. So this is the low brake. So you see, that's the negative. So I have disconnected the VCC and I will connect it back. But even after our connection, because the throttle has been activated directly, it won't work. So you need to deactivate the throttle before and connect it back. So let me deactivate the throttle and connect the VCC again. Then I'll connect the throttle back. So that one is also a safety mechanism to prevent you from automatically starting the automatically starting the e-bike whilst you are like when you start the e-bike and your hands is on the throttle, it will move. So that's a system which helps to which helps your safety. Now let's experiment with the three speed lines. So with the three speed lines, we have low, medium, and high. We have low, medium, and high. So since this speed is the medium, so I'll try the high. So you will see. So this is the line for the three speed. Okay, this is the line for the three speed. Now let's go. So that's the low. You can see the speed has been reduced. The speed has been reduced. Now let's go to high. So now this is medium. Now let's go to high. You can see that the speed has increased. Now the wheel is spinning very fast. So these are the functions I'm talking about. Now let me activate the reverse and see. Now after activating the reverse, now the reason be that I have to disconnect the throttle and connect again before the reverse will work. So that's the reverse. The reverse is not as fast as the forward. As you know, even with cars and other stuff, the reverse is not fast like the forward speed. So this is the reverse line. Now after disconnecting and disconnecting the throttle and connecting it back again, you can see it's going forward now. That's it. Let me go again. Now this is the high speed. You can see how fast it's spinning. Let's go to the low speed. So normally all these functions are controlled by switches. But in this case, I won't be using the switches on e-bikes. I'll be using this connection box as I spoke about it earlier. So these are the connection box looks like. This is how it looks like. This is how it looks like. So those are the functions and everything. Those are the functions and everything. Let's see. So I have to disconnect the power lines because that's the main thing to do on this stuff now. After disconnecting the power lines, I'll disconnect the motor lines. So that's the simplest way to connect an e-bike throttle. That's the most simplest way you can do the connection. So even without the complex, otherwise they are just there, each one and their functions, but you connect according to the one you need. So the main ones are the power lines and the phase lines, which has been separated already, together with the Hall sensor lines, which is this one, and this sorry, the throttle line. So you need the throttle line, the activation line, the phase lines, the power lines, and the Hall sensor line. These are the main functions before the other ones like the anti-theft, the self-recognition, the other stuffs. So this is where I will end my live section. I just wanted to give a quick tutorial on how to connect this. I'll be getting some new e-bikes, so I'll be coming live often to show you how to fix certain problems and stuffs on the e-bike. So that's all for today. I'm ending my live section here.